Hey guys, so you just finished watching the only video footage I got after the shot. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on my big camera. I actually did take my big camera with me, but it was on the other side of the tower, and I didn't want to risk grabbing it and not being able to get a shot at the buck. So, oh yeah, it is a buck. So, let me tell you what's happened. So, it was Black Friday afternoon. I had headed out a little after 4, got to the tower, got everything set up. I was always seeing deer in the evening, but I hadn't had anything come behind the tower for a while. So it was about 5:20 and I hear something, and I go back behind the tower and I look and I see something, and it doesn't look very big, and then I see it's a deer, and then I look and see it's a buck. And he's coming in, so I grabbed my gun real quick and I walked over and turned the GoPro on, and it's facing me, which is the shot that you guys saw. And I get set up, and as you guys saw, I stepped on that leaf, and his head snapped up, and he just started staring in my direction. And he put his nose up in the air and just started sniffing really hard. And I thought for sure he was going to bust me. But I was using Code Blue scent killer spray and some new Code Blue doe ear, and I just bought it at the store that day. That's all I had. I didn't wash my clothes in it or nothing, but had that, and it put him to ease. He came in directly downwind of me. Now, he's not downwind at this point where I shot him. He's not directly downwind. The wind is blowing across. But, so he comes in, he's about 50 yards. I've got my dad's .270 rifle, Remington 770 rifle, had a scope on it. And I put it on him, and I just have a heck of a time with buck fever. It's terrible. So I'm just breathing, getting it on him, trying to hold it on him. And I'm trying to stay steady, and I'm just struggling. And so I try to squeeze the trigger. I end up pulling, and I hit him, and I see him kick his back legs, and I see him take off up the hill behind the tower, and I can see that his one leg is stiff. He's not moving it, and he goes to the top of the hill, and I lose sight of him. I called my dad and told him, and we went back, and at first we didn't find any blood. Then I went back to the spot where I knew I shot him. Found some blood, and I found another drop of blood, and it's a really, really thin blood trail, but I do begin to find blood. Keep following the trail little bits at a time until eventually we got to the top of the hill and started going down the hill towards the cedar thicket that he came out of, where the deer like to bed. And I found some really nice, really big spots of bright red blood. And that blood trail was literally mentally for me a roller coaster. We'd find big spots, then no blood at all. And we went, it must have been after 7 by the time we quit, and we followed him 100 or 200 yards into the woods and never found him. So we decided to come back in the next morning. So Saturday morning, I head back out with my mom and dad, and we're looking. We don't find any blood, don't find any trace of him, and I figured I just made a crappy shot and he was going to live, and it was all over. And it tore me up. I really hated it. So I was just not really sure what to do next. So Sunday morning, I was at church, and I get a call, and it's my uncle. And so I answer it, and he's telling me that they found my deer. So after what felt like the longest church service of my life, I talked to my uncle, and turns out that deer had gone into a ditch. There's a huge ditch that runs through the property that I hunt. It's our property, our own private property. And there's a great big ditch, great big creek that runs through it. And he had gone in that ditch and gotten stuck and couldn't get out. And we looked a little bit in the ditch, but we didn't look a lot. My uncle told me to look in the ditch, but we didn't. So my cousin had been heading to his hunting spot in the morning, and he got down that ditch and saw the deer and waited till it got light and shot it again because it wasn't quite dead yet. So they got it field dressed and drug it back up, and I went over there Sunday after church and got some pictures with him, and it was redemption. I found the buck I'd lost, and I can't describe how awesome it was. It was really great to find him. And this is the biggest deer I've ever shot. I've never shot a truly nice buck before. This was a huge blessing. And I do owe somewhat of this hunt to Code Blue. I wouldn't have seen that buck without having that new doe urine, because he came in directly to that scent, you could tell. By the way, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not promoting their products for money or anything. I just think they're a good company, and I want to give them just a quick shout out because I think they make good products, but I'm not sponsored by them. But first and foremost, I owe this hunt to God, because I prayed and prayed and prayed for opportunities, and I prayed so hard that I'd find out the fate of the buck. I didn't care if he was alive or if he was dead. I just wanted to know what the fate of the buck would be, and that maybe we would find him. So, I'm not saying that God is like a genie in a bottle where you just ask and he makes your wishes come true. I just had trust and faith in God that I would find the deer, or at least find out what happened to him. And it tested my faith that Saturday that I never found him. But the next morning I did find him, and I owe it all to God. So I'm pretty much done for the year, ready for duck season, ready for rest of the year to move on. So yeah, this pretty much wraps up deer season 2017. There might be another video or two. Be sure to subscribe. If you like True Outdoors, like what we're doing, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, drop a comment with your thoughts, anything you liked about the video. Be sure to leave a comment. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at TrueOutdoors_TV. And I guess I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. God bless.